So AI tools like ChatGPT, they're everywhere in our classrooms now, right? And it's left students, parents, and teachers asking this huge question. Are these tools a game changer for learning, or are they just a fancy new way to cheat? You see all these conflicting headlines. So let's cut through the noise and look at what the research actually says. In this question, this really gets to the heart of the whole debate. Should we think of AI as this amazing new study partner, or should we be a little worried that it might actually get in the way of real learning? In this explainer, we're going to dig into the data and find out.
All right, so here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with a big dilemma students are facing. Then we'll break down a super simple way to think about how you're using AI. We'll uncover some hidden dangers, but then we'll switch gears to a practical guide on making AI your personal tutor. And we'll wrap up with the real challenge here, self-control.
You know, if you've been feeling a bit of whiplash from all the news about AI in school, you are definitely not alone. I mean, one study comes out praising tools like ChatGPT as these incredible learning aids, but then another one comes out saying they can actually hurt your exam scores. So what is really going on here?
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting. When researchers crunched all the numbers and looked at the big picture, they found something no one expected. On average, giving students access to AI had basically no effect on their learning. It didn't help, but it didn't hurt either. That sounds completely wrong, doesn't it? Well, it's because that simple average is hiding a much more complicated story.
So, here's the key takeaway. The impact of AI isn't about if you use it. It's all about how you use it. And the research really boils it down to two totally different approaches. Are you using AI as a substitute for your own work, or are you using it to complement and boost your learning? Let's make this crystal clear. Using AI as a substitute is basically like outsourcing your brain. You're just asking it to give you the final answer. But using it as a complement means you're treating it like a thinking partner. You're asking for explanations, maybe some examples, or just a little hint to help you figure it out yourself. One replaces thinking, the other supports it.
And this table just lays out the trade-off perfectly. When you use AI as a substitute, yeah, you can blast through your homework way faster. You cover more topics. But, and this is a huge but, the research shows your actual understanding of those topics gets worse. On the flip side, using it as a complement doesn't really speed you up, but it makes your understanding so much deeper. Speed versus depth, that's the choice.
Now, this whole speed versus depth thing isn't just some abstract idea. It actually leads to two very real and kind of scary dangers that every student using AI needs to know about.
So the first danger is that AI can make the learning gap even wider. What the research found is that students who are already doing well tend to use AI as a complement, which just helps them get even further ahead. But students who are struggling, they're more likely to use it as a substitute, which can actually hurt their learning and push them even further behind.
And the second danger is the sneaky thing called the illusion of learning. Think about it. Because AI makes getting the right answer so easy, students who use it feel super confident. They start to overestimate how much they actually know. And that can lead to a really rude awakening when exam day comes, and suddenly that AI safety net is gone.
Okay, so we've seen the pitfalls, but here's the good news. We can totally choose to avoid them. The secret is to completely change how we think about these tools. We need to transform them from a simple answer key into a personalized tutor that's built to help us genuinely learn.
And here's an awesome 4-step way to do it, called the Quizzer rule. It's super simple. First, you feed the AI your own course materials, your class notes, lecture slides, whatever you have. Second, you give it some ground rules. Third, you tell it to start quizzing you on that material. And fourth, it gives you feedback that adapts to how well you're doing.
And here's what that actually looks like. See? Instead of just asking, what's the answer? You're commanding the AI to test you on your stuff. This is the ultimate way to use AI as a learning complement. You're completely flipping the script and putting yourself back in the driver's seat of your own education. So we have a clear, effective way to use these tools. But this brings us to the toughest part of the whole thing, because at the end of the day, it all comes down to self-control. That temptation to just take the easy way out, it's powerful.
And the data on this is just wow. It's so clear. When you just let students choose, they almost always use AI as a substitute. They ask for the solution way more often than they ask for an explanation. The path of least resistance is to just get the answer. It takes real, conscious effort to choose the harder path that actually helps you learn.
So really, the choice is yours. AI gives you a shortcut, and it gives you a toolkit, both at the same time. One leads to shallow knowledge and a false sense of confidence. The other leads to deep understanding and real mastery. The technology itself doesn't care which one you pick. Its impact all comes down to the choice you make every single time you open up that chat window.